got a little bit of work here. But one guy you gave a D, and that's the head coach, Doug Pederson. And really, he's been praised for 3 games, Scott, but it sounds like you, like me, did not like his game plan that much on Sunday.
Yeah, I hit on it a little bit before we went to the break there in the last segment. I just didn't think his opening script was nearly as good as what it has been. He seems to spread the ball around pretty well at the beginning. And I just think in the opening drive, you got to get the ball to at least either Zach Ertz and or Jordan Matthews. I think those are 2 guys you want to get involved early on. Ryan Matthews is going to get his carries early on. I thought, that the game plan overall eventually looked like it came back. Here's the big difference that I found myself walking away with at the end of the day. When you look at the head coach, you look back at Thanksgiving, the Eagles got their doors blown off them at the beginning, and it continued through the whole game. At least in this game, adjustments were made. They just weren't quite enough in the end to get over it. I just look at Doug Pederson being responsible for, like you have talked about, I didn't think the play calling was quite as crisp, quite as good. And I also think that when there's that many penalties, yes, I'm with you guys. I didn't think it was very good refereeing done in that game. I thought it was one-sided on how they called the game. All that being aside, you have to be able to coach the guys into position where they're not committing the penalties. And you got to learn. Like, look, guys, they got the magnifying glass on us. We're going to have to really be, playing to our dotting our I's and crossing our T's here. We cannot be committing close to anything that looks like a penalty, and it never changed. And I just think they looked rusty coming out of the bye week as well. All that, to me, goes on the head coach.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a great game, guys. I thought Pederson really was a little predictable yesterday. I think he stayed with the script that's been working, and Detroit was ready for what's been working. I thought Donovan McNabb said something today that I kind of agree with during Mike and Mike, and I'll play that bite for you in just a second. But, one thing is for certain, they're winning, and a lot of this has been because of the defense and how well the defense is playing. I think McNabb makes a good point about taking some of the pressure off Wentz, because now, as this season's going on, teams are kind of noticing that the Eagles are not sticking with the run. They are not just – the first game I thought they stuck with the run. There was a good balance. But they are not consistently running the ball. None of these backs seem like they're getting in a good flow of the game. And I think that's something that, look, after a third or fourth game, you start to notice some trends. And I think one of the trends, guys, with them is the running back situation is none of the backs are really getting in a groove here. And, evidenced by the F. I know Ryan Matthews fumbled, but they're not having a great kind of in-the-flow kind of game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, if anything this season, the one who's had the opportunity to get into most of a groove is Darren Sproles, just because he's getting more touches, and he's a guy you want to feed the ball to. Ryan Matthews, coming off of missing the last game due to the injury, I thought they spread the ball around pretty well in that game when they used the 3 backs between Barner, Smallwood, and Sproles. And what you see there is 3 different kind of runners. I think that's to your benefit to get some guys some touches, just to also give the defense the look of, here's the little guy you can't see behind the line. Oh, he burst through the hole and he's gone there for a couple of yards. In Sproles, Matthews, he's just going to go right at you. He's going to fall forward. Smallwood is somewhat of the same. He's a little bit more agile. So you can, and then Barner kind of comes in. I mean, I think you got to get the running game going a little bit more. You got to give those guys an opportunity to be fed the ball. And, in Matthews' case, getting the F, it's strictly because you cannot fumble the ball late in the game. I thought he had a good game otherwise. I thought he was certainly a factor, and he was doing some good things. And he probably would have gotten a B for what he had done. But going from the F automatically due to just really giving the game away there at the end.
Yeah, how about, I see also, you saw Pederson get the D. How about Schwartz? He also had a D.
I thought I thought Schwartz was outcoached in the first half. I really did. I thought that Detroit looked like they knew exactly what the Eagles were going to do, and they kept calling plays that were exploiting their weaknesses on defense. They were finding guys in the open. They were running to spots on the field where the Eagles just didn't have very many guys to try to make the tackle. When the Eagles were there, this is on the players, they didn't make the tackles all that well either. I mean, there were missed tackles a lot there by the defense, and I think some of that goes again to the rust of having the bye week. And, I think, again, that's on the coaches to have the players ready to play coming out of the bye week. And, look, you can say what you want about Andy Reid at times. He always had his team ready to go out of a bye. I was curious to see if Doug Pederson would have been the same way. And after this, I say no after one example. We'll see what happens in the future with Pederson here. But Schwartz, I thought, was outcoached. But again, to his credit, he made great adjustments in the second half. The statistics prove that, but it was just giving up way too much in the first half that they couldn't come back from.
Yeah, the bye thing's interesting because it seems that if the team struggles out of the bye, it's a bye week hangover, and if the team plays well, they were well rested.
Yeah,
like you can never win with that one. Andy Reid is 15-2 out of the bye. Did they not have the bye week hangover? Are those 53 guys different? So I don't know, because so many times when you look at a schedule, one of the things you look at is like, well, the Eagles are playing this team. They're coming off a bye. They're fresh. But then when the Eagles have the bye and they don't play well, they had a bye week hangover. So do you want to play a team off a bye or do you not want to play a team off a bye? I just think the game plan was not there. Yeah, I thought they missed a lot of tackles. I don't know that it's a bye week hangover as much as they had plays to make. They didn't make them.
No, they did. I think with the tackling, you look at it and you're hitting on all cylinders week to week. You come out of training camp where they had a physical training camp and they did well with that. They go 1 week where they weren't on a field at all. Then they come back and they have just practices where you're not going to do a whole lot of physical contact. They went 2 weeks without bringing a guy to the ground very much, and I think that really set the tone early on. I mean, Theo Riddick looked like he was a beast. Do I think he's that way every week? No. Is that the kind of player I think he really is? I think he runs hard, but this is the NFL. He should not have been bowling over some of those guys like he was. And I just think some of that, to me, comes from maybe not being physical enough in practice to shake off the bye week rust.
And Michael Kendricks looked lost over there. Scott Grayson's with
Absolutely.
us, giving us Grayson's grades. And you've gone over some of the poor grades that you gave out. You only gave out 1A. Mike Gill will laugh about that I'm asking this question because he thinks that I have some secret affinity for kickers and punters. But your A was to Caleb Sturgis.
I think Caleb Sturgis helped keep this team in the game. When the offense stalled out or penalties were called that killed drives, a 50-yarder, a 49-yarder, and the 33-yarder to end the first half, knowing the Eagles got the ball to start the second half. I just think this guy was automatic yesterday, and without him making all three of those field goals, we're not talking about Ryan Matthews' fumble. And to me, those were big kicks. And you cannot underestimate what the kicker has to do for you in games like that. The way that first half started, as much as I was frustrated to see the Eagles' offense stall out, you knew that if they got any shot at all in winning this game, they've got to at least keep chipping away, and that's what those field goals were doing. And they're not – I mean, a 50-yarder is not automatic. A 49-yarder, not automatic in this league. He made both of them, and I thought that they were very huge in helping the Eagles, not only have the shot at winning the game, but the one gave them the lead there that it looked like might be the game winner. A lot of pressure there. Timeout called before it, tried to ice the kicker.
That was one of I had two did you notices about the kicking game. Ron Reed used to have did you notice in the Inquirer on the days after. That was always my favorite part. Did you notice that Sturgis did the veteran move, which is they called timeout. He kicked it anyway.
Yeah, and did you see Caldwell
was
complaining
like,
about
hey, why is he kicking it? That's not allowed. Tough tootie, buddy. Too bad. So did you notice that? Did you also notice how close the field goal, Prater's field goal attempt came to getting blocked by Benny Logan?
I did not see that.
On the replay, Benny Logan came very close, and was he or was he not the one that had the block of the field goal?
I did notice that. And my thought was,
it just missed his fingertips.
Yeah, my thought on that was, why doesn't it like Dorial Green Beckham just stand there? Because if like Green Beckham's there, he's like 6'5". Like maybe the difference there does block. So I always wondered, like, why don't you just put the tallest string bean guy there? And just although the Lions didn't they get a leaping penalty?
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
That was one of their two penalties.
Yeah,
leaping.
I noticed that.
Ridiculous. Right. One thing though, as you give Sturgis an A, it kind of furthers the point of, why not play for the field goal the way that Sturgis had been kicking?
Well, my whole thought on that last – I expected – what do you see late in the game, right? You see a team that's playing defense with the lead saying – and a team that has no timeouts like the Eagles did saying, listen, we'll give you the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. We want to protect the out of bounds so that you can't stop the clock that way, and we're not going to let you beat us deep. Well, they didn't let them beat them deep. And I wondered, and again I go back to – in those moments, aren't you looking for Zach Ertz or Brent Selleck?
Selleck had no targets yesterday.
No, or Jordan Matthews over the middle.
The middle should be open. They should be leaving that open for those guys.
Or you can sometimes get away with throwing like to a running back over the middle of the field who does a loop route from the backfield as the play evolves. Well, and I think the middle of the field would have been open for 15 to 20 yards. Now all of a sudden you're right. You're at the end of Sturgis's range, and the playbook's all wide open.